Good morning everyone, and today we're checking out a brand new video from the Food Theaters about why Gen Zs are skipping meals. Now, before I actually get into this video, I just want to say one thing kind of real quick. I may not be a person of Gen Z. Well, I honestly can't tell, because every time I look up the damn generational period, I can never get a straight answer, so I don't know. But all I can say is this. Every now and then I'll skip breakfast, but that's not because of I don't have the money for it or something like that. But sometimes I just wake up and I'm not hungry. That's just all it is for me. But either way, we're gonna hop into this video and see what the theory is for everyone else. Let's go.
Why is Gen Z skipping meals? People have started to notice that Gen Z seems to be too cool for the 3-meal-a-day trend the rest of us have been following our whole lives. Are they onto something? Or is this trend negatively impacting their health? Actually, this is more than a new diet trend. Gen Z's choice to skip meals is not just affecting their lives, but is causing shockwaves across the entire food industry and beyond.
Oh. Okay, this is
Hello,
gonna be
Internet!
big.
Welcome to Food Theory, the show that never skips a meal. I don't know about you, and I don't know if you know this, but a lot of my life centers around food. I like going out to find new places to eat. I like to cook exciting dishes at home. Heck, my job is all about food. So
Yes,
you
it
know
is.
that your boy is never skipping out on a meal. It's just not me. But that's not the case for everyone. While skipping meals is something that's been going on for years, people have started to notice that Gen Z in particular is skipping meals more frequently than any past generation. But why does it matter? Is it really that big of a deal that this young generation has one meal less a day? The answer is a big fat yup. Because by skipping
Oh,
a
yeah?
meal, Gen Z are not just impacting themselves, but the food industry massively, and in surprising ways that affect all of us. So you definitely want to stick around and see why. By looking at the reasons behind why Gen Z are skipping meals in the first place and the effects it's having on them, you'll see that this new trend might actually be a
Alright,
good thing. So
Santi.
get out your forks and knives, theorists. I'm about to serve up a hot plate of answers to the question, why is Gen Z skipping meals? The
Ding,
first
ding.
question that
Let's
everyone
go.
is probably wondering is which meal is getting skipped. Understanding which meal Gen Z is deciding to pass on will give us a greater insight as to why, but also how it's going to affect their health. It can't be breakfast, surely. After being told for so long that it's the most important meal of the day, Gen Z wouldn't dare. Some people say
Yeah. Hey, there's this scene. I was about to say, sometimes I'll skip breakfast because I'm just not hungry. I technically don't have a lunch because I don't eating at lunch, or I eat something that would be lunch and then dinner, or I just eat late, so it'd only be dinner. It's kind of just varies on when.
Say that, but you know, it's just a theory.
oh god, it's him again. Anyway, it's not
Ah.
breakfast. And sorry if you guessed that it was dinner, because it's not
lunch.
that either.
Come
It's
on.
lunch. That's right, the midday pick-me-up. While we don't know when this habit started exactly, it was in 2023 that studies began to discover that Gen Z skipped lunch at least once a week and skipped it more than any other generation. The study found that
Okay.
7 in 10 Zoomers skip lunch, compared to just 5 in 10 Millennials and 4 in 10 Gen Xers. So while skipping lunch isn't exactly unheard of, it is certainly on the rise with Gen Z. So then why are
Huh.
they doing this? Is it some
Yeah,
crazy
explain.
TikTok health craze that the kids are into these days? Wow, that made me sound old. Well, first
Yes,
of all,
it did.
yeah, lunch is expensive and people are broke. But actually, the reason for passing on lunch is far more simple. The majority of studies looking into this new trend have seen that it
Go on.
primarily happens in the workplace. More specifically, it's about peer pressure. When asked why Gen Z are choosing to skip their lunch, they said that they were worried about what bosses and senior employees might think if they chose to take a break. They're conscious that it
come
may
on.
seem like they're not as committed or that their workload was light enough to take a break. But Gen Z also
Oh.
says that the other reason is that the workload is too much for them to take a break from. So Zoomers are choosing to work through lunch because of the demands of them at the workplace. Makes
Damn, it's literally a pendulum swing, i.e., a damned if you do, damned if you don't.
them feel like they have to do work with no breaks to get it all done. This may be because Gen Z actually have too much work to get done, or it's that they perceive it to be too much. But the point still stands that this pressure is
Both.
causing them to feel like
Both
they
could be.
can't take a lunch break. They have work that has to get done, and they'll be more productive if they lock in and do nothing except the task at hand. But the problem is, this decision is negatively affecting their health, something Gen Z are particularly conscious of. Not only that, it also affects their productivity, the
sorry.
very thing they're trying to improve by skipping lunch. Let's look at the health issues first. If you're missing a meal, you're likely missing a nutrient quality meal, and so your diet is short on things like vitamins, iron, omega-3s, all that jazz, and all of which
fish.
support immune cell function. So by regularly skipping any meal, not just lunch, you're at risk of weakening your immune system. To make things worse, by passing on your mid-meal meal, you're likely gonna make less healthy decisions later. For example, if you skip
True.
lunch and you're
I could see
starving
that.
by the time you get home, you're not gonna wanna now spend an hour preparing a meal that's got all those nutrients that protect your immune system. Oh no! You're hungry and want something now. Like J.G. Wentworth, 877 food now. So you grab that big bag of Doritos and go to town. So now,
Oh.
not only have you missed a meal, you're now choosing food that's
Inhale.
still lacking nutrients, meaning your immune system continues to get weaker. So eating a good lunch boosts
is a
your immune
downside.
system, but having regular meals is crucial for your digestion, your gut health, and even your metabolism. Each time you eat food, your body breaks down carbohydrates.
You know, I'm actually surprised the ramen market isn't trying to hop in and say, quick and fast lunch only takes 5 minutes. Because technically it does only take 5 minutes for ramen.
Carbohydrates like bread,
So-
rice, and sugar into glucose.
You know.
This is your body's energy fuel. As the food enters your intestines and is being broken down, the glucose is absorbed into blood vessels and is carried around your body, distributing it to cells that need that energy. As the glucose
Thank
is
you,
used
blood.
up, your body needs more and more to keep functioning. This is where eating regular meals becomes important. Your body has used up all that glucose from breakfast and could be running low. But if you pass on the midday meal, your body will be functioning on less energy. So by the time you get to eat dinner, you'll have a massive glucose spike, where your body suddenly gets a hit the stuff
Too
it's been
much.
deficient of since breakfast. This can actually lead to an insulin insensitivity and in the long term, diabetes. But the short
Oh, that's
term
not
isn't
good.
good either. Your body naturally burns calories in the day by walking or exercising, sitting, doing
much
everything.
just
But even if you do
existing.
nothing, your body still burns calories just to keep everything going, like
Yeah.
your heart, your brain, and all that important living stuff, you know? This is called your
You quite literally just burn calories by existing. You sitting there on your couch, or on the toilet, or maybe even in your own bed, you're burning calories right now. Me recording this video, I'm burning calories.
basal metabolic rate. And if you keep not eating lunch, your body gets used to this schedule and goes into energy saving mode. It panics because your body thinks it's not consuming enough calories to survive. So as a safety measure, your body changes metabolism to not burn as many calories at that point in the day, reducing your BMR. So by skipping meals, your body has learned to conserve energy rather than burn it. And this can result in weight gain or
Oh,
make
that's
it
not
harder
good.
to lose weight. Those are just some of the health issues caused by skipping a meal. But I get that it's not just about health. Work piles
the
up and you
downside.
feel like the best way to get it all done is to skip lunch and just grind through it without stopping. Trust me, I get it. I did that very thing with this script. But unfortunately, by skipping
Seriously though, ramen companies, literally, here's a market for you.
lunch,
Lunch.
you're actually going to be less productive. How do I know? Because science, baby! We already talked about how
Yes,
food sends
science!
energy around your body through glucose. And not eating means less energy for your body. So when you skip a meal, not only is your body conserving energy by burning less calories, it's also going to stop giving energy to less essential parts of your body. In this case, your brain. You know, that stupid thing. Your brain uses 20%
Ah,
of
of
your daily
course.
energy. So when your body's conserving energy due to a lack of glucose, it conserves it by stopping non-essential things, like thinking, somebody check on Tom, he must be low on glucose all the time. Burn. Now, obviously,
Oh,
we can't turn
boy.
our brain off completely because, we need it
That'd
to
be
live.
sad.
But it's essentially putting it on standby mode. Ultimately, this results in you feeling
Well, like sleep
fatigued,
mode.
that brain
Yeah.
fog, and overall sluggish. You can't think clearly because your brain literally doesn't have the energy to think clearly. Meaning the task you're skipping lunch to try and complete is going to be
Task
even harder. The
delayed.
very thing Gen Z is trying to achieve by skipping lunch is actually made a lot more challenging by doing so. After this, some of you might be thinking,
Gotta have
okay,
lunch.
Santi, bet. Food is important for productivity. From now on, I'll just eat lunch while I keep working at my desk, then I can remain productive. But you're wrong!
Yeah, no.
Because the thing is, there's more to taking your lunch
take a
break
break.
than just eating lunch. Part of boosting productivity at work involves you taking an actual break, as in getting away from your desk and doing something not work related. Whether it's just going
Exactly.
for a walk or sitting and eating your lunch in the break room, studies have
Yeah, go to the break room, make your lunch, put in some earbuds, watch an episode of Family Guy while you eat. Then when it's over and you've had your fill, head back to your desk.
shown that just taking 20 to 45 minutes away from your desk for lunch results in
Okay, 2 episodes of Family Guy.
13 to 30% better productivity when returning from lunch. On top of that, it allows your mind to reset by not having to think about whatever task you were doing for just a couple of minutes. It allows your brain
Yep.
to arrange and gather your thoughts so that when you get back to the job, you'll be thinking a lot more clearly. This is actually something I do when writing these episodes. After writing, I'll take a break and come back to it, and And suddenly, I'm not just more productive, but able to tackle problems that were stumping me before. So when it comes to skipping meals, Zoomers, don't do it to be more productive. If anything, eating lunch is gonna make you more productive. Ignore the peer pressure from your boss, because if you want to succeed at work, eating lunch is important. Is what I would say if these were the only
Plus, it would even get you to socialize as well with your co-blockers.
reasons Gen Z was skipping their lunch. Because there's a far bigger issue at play here than just the workplace pressure. Workplace pressure was what a lot of studies surrounding this trend seemed to focus on. But the bigger issue is probably a little bit more obvious, especially because I said it when the episode started. It's
money.
Because they're broke. It's no secret that the cost of living has gone up. And while it's something all of us are dealing with, Gen Z in particular are suffering. Across all generations, Gen Z are the highest generation to dip into their savings. And it's not because they're bad with money or splurging on stuff they don't need. Gen Z is actually saving more than past generations did at the same age. So why are they dipping into savings? Surveys have found that 42% of the Gen Zers that dipped into savings did so to pay off debts, rent fees, things like that. It's not like it's being used on reckless spending. It's to pay for basic
it's not like we're taking thousands of strip clubs and losing it all.
Commodities. Every generation has had to deal with rent prices and debts, and housing prices are at an all-time high right now. The difference is Gen Z is starting out entering the workforce with crazy high bills that other generations didn't have at the same age. By the time they're 30, Zoomers will have paid about $145,000 in rent. That's
like he's saying, prices are ridiculously high. But if we actually if people try to actually complain about that to older generations, even parents, the only thing you're gonna get is, back in my day, I could buy my house with one job. Go back 40 years and see how much a house costs then. And then try doing that today.
$18,000 more than the adjusted cost for millennials at the same age. And student loans are just as bad. Gen Z pays an average of $526 per month towards student loans, which is double the average of $284 across all other age groups. You're starting to see the problem. By the time Gen Z are beginning to earn money, most of their paycheck has to go to these essential payments. So what's the solution? Gen Z has to spend less on other non-essential spending. You know, like
even
eating food. In order to scrape together enough cash to pay their rent every month, 1 in 5 Zoomers are skipping meals, selling belongings, and skipping medical treatments. Like, what? Gen Z is sacrificing their health just so that they can get by and have a place to live. That's insane. This isn't a food trend. It's a financial crisis. But don't worry, Gen Z, have faith, because this injustice is not going unnoticed. Since late 2023, when surveys began to reveal this trend of Gen Z skipping lunch, fast food and fast casual chains also noticed direct correlation.
Oh god, you put one of those Quiznos monkeys in the pocket.
In their sales. Chipotle's CEO, Scott Boatwright, said that diners aged 25 to 35, that's Gen Z and young millennials, have stopped eating out. Not just at Chipotle, but just stopped eating out, period. This demographic accounts for roughly a quarter of Chipotle's consumer base. And as we've said in our episode about casual diners, it's the same across the board. Most fast casuals rely on Gen Z for good sales. But the financial strain that Gen Z are facing has caused them to stop going to these places. Comparing data between Q4 2024 and Q2 2025, same-store sales for places like Wingstop, Chipotle, and Sweet Green have fallen. The very generation that was lifting up the fast casual industry is now bringing it down. But it's not just them. Fast food chains have not been getting off lightly either. Same-store sales in the most recent quarter, as of writing this episode, declined 3.6% for Wendy's, 5% for KFC, and 0.9% at Popeyes. The fact that this is happening,
that's not too bad for Popeyes.
at the same time that Gen Z has started skipping lunch is no coincidence. The reluctant choice to not eat lunch is putting pressure on the food industry. And in order to win Gen Z back, these fast food and fast casual chains had to make some changes.
Drop your prices!
So what did they do? Reduce the price of their items? No. Because if they did that, they're not going to make as much profit on each item. And shareholders won't like that. And who's going to think of the shareholders? Now, what the restaurants did to try and get Gen Z to eat lunch at their establishment was to reintroduce meal deals and the value menu. In 2023, fast casuals like Chipotle expanded their
I've actually seen a few of those.
cheap lifestyle bowl range to cater to more customers. Panera introduced the value duets combo in late 2023, where you'd get a sandwich and a soup for as little little as $6.99. This was all to encourage more customers to eat with them. And fast
Not
food
bad.
wasn't far behind, with Wendy's Biggie Bag releasing in March 2024, Taco Bell's Craving Menu in May, and who could forget McDonald's $5 meal deal in June. All of these offerings
So
line up
nice.
with when we see the start of this Gen Z skipping lunch trend, if you want to call it that,
It's
and when
no
these restaurants
trend.
started to see a decline in sales. TLDR, Gen Z skipping lunch is the reason that value menus came back. Once again, we're seeing that Gen Z has a heavy influence on the consumer market. When Gen Z decided
Yes.
to drink less alcohol, more non-alcoholic beverages appeared on store shelves. When Gen Z were looking for a fun dining experience, the sales of casual diners went up. And when Gen Z can't afford to eat lunch, fast food and fast casuals bring back cheaper menus and more affordable options.
Thank
Gen Z
you.
eating less due to the financial constraints is beginning to have an impact for the entire food industry, one that they're struggling to hold up. This isn't a new diet trend or a financial crisis, it's a hunger strike. Gen Z are out there giving up their midday meal, sacrificing their health and work productivity to make a statement to the man and the corporate
Yeah.
greed that plagues these fast food and fast casual chains. And
Listen
you
to
know
the
what?
people.
It's working. Places like McDonald's and Chipotle are scrambling to find a way to get Gen Z back in their good graces. Get them to help lift up their profits. But really, there's only one solution. At the end of the day, the issue is money. If these places want to see Gen Z buying lunch from them, they're gonna have to drop prices. Not sales, not value menus, prices. Because the value menu isn't a long-term fix. These tactics did initially raise lunchtime traffic, but it was only by a marginal 1 to 3% and began
that
to
is
decline
nothing.
shortly after. A lot of these chains have extended their meal deals to try and boost numbers, but the hype is short-lived. It's merely a
gotta drop the
band-aid
prices
rather
even
than a
more.
cure to the issue. But if prices dropped across the board, not only would it help out Gen Z, it would help out all of us. We'd all
Come on.
be getting the lower prices. Even as I've been writing this episode, Chipotle's CEO, Scott Boatwright, has announced that they'll be testing a midday happy hour offering with items costing
Happy
lower
hour.
than $10. Ha ha ha! We are so back, you guys. This is all in
Yes,
the hopes
come
that it
on.
will bring back customers into their restaurants, and particularly during that midday period. A time that Boatwright has already gone on record saying saw a huge dip due to Gen Z no longer being able to afford lunch. Gen Z has got these chains desperate to try and get them back in, trying to offer limited time, low price offers to win them over. But it's not
Yank
enough.
those
So
chains.
while I've listed out some of the health issues with skipping lunch, and really Gen Z should be trying to take a break from work where they can, by skipping lunch, they're sticking it to the man in a way that past generations have not been able to. The
Yes.
food industry is taking
Yes.
notice and are doing everything they can to make their food more affordable during this difficult economic climate. So you know what? Keep skipping lunch, Gen Z. Keep taking down the establishment. We already have them offering value menus, combo deals, and now even happy hour to try and raise profits. So if you just keep going
Come
a
on.
little longer, hold out on that midday meal, we might just get these fast food and fast casual chains to buckle under the pressure and finally drop their prices for good.
Take
So I guess
the
we should be
knee.
saying thank you, Gen Z. You are our heroes. And damn the man, save the empire. But hey, that's just a theory. A food theory. Buen provecho. And hey,
Alright everyone, that's going to be the end of today's video, and I hope you all enjoyed it. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Link to the original will be in the description below, and I'll see all of you next time when we flick back on. Until then, this is Fox, signing out. Peace.